Godzilla x Kong, supernova set footage teases a massive disaster. Directed by Grant Sputor, with a script written by David Callahan and Michael Lloyd Green, the sixth film in the Monsterverse franchise finds the two titular titans facing off against a cataclysmic world-ending threat. Godzilla x Kong, Supernova's cast includes Dan Stevens reprising his role as Trapper alongside several new characters played by Caitlin Dever, Jack O'Connell, Matthew Modine, Delroy Lindo, Alicia Debnam Carey, and Sam Neill. Now, shortly after production began earlier this month, the first set footage from Godzilla x Kong, Supernova has surfaced via courier mail on TikTok. According to the report, filming is taking place in Brisbane, Australia, doubling for London, where William Street in the CBD was dramatically converted into a chaotic, fire-ravaged set. Filming has been ongoing for 3 days, and the footage captures an intense London-style crash scene complete with tanks, fire engines, British police vehicles, and around 50 extras dashing through the mayhem. Lead actor Dan Stevens was seen performing a high-intensity sequence, leaping from a fire truck amid military figures just outside the Star Casino. Click the link below to watch the set footage. In the shadow of a shattered skyline, the world was holding its breath. Godzilla had returned, not with the wrath of a titan, but with the silence of a predator. The oceans trembled beneath him. The air felt thicker. Storms brewed without warning. But this time something was different. Something ancient. Something cosmic. It started with leaked set footage. A brief flash. A silhouette against an inferno. A structure crumbling like paper beneath a monstrous force. And then, gone. Removed. Pulled from every official source. But the internet doesn't forget. The frames were dissected. Enhanced. Shared. Studied like scripture. And what they revealed set the fandom on fire. Kong, on his knees. Bloodied. Staring into a light so bright, it wasn't from this earth. A presence, taller than anything we've seen. Glowing. Pulsing. Breathing heat like a dying star. Not a weapon. Not a machine. A supernova. Not in space, but alive. Moving. Angry. And this was just the beginning. After the events of Godzilla vs. Kong, the world tried to find balance again. Monarch expanded their research, trying to catalog and understand the hollow Earth ecosystem. Kong was sent below, to his kingdom, his throne. Godzilla, meanwhile, patrolled the coasts, a silent guardian no government could command. But the Earth had grown restless. Tremors in parts of the world untouched by tectonic shifts. Wildlife migration patterns reversing. Northern lights flickering at the equator. A sound, a deep, low-frequency hum, detected worldwide. Not natural. Not terrestrial. Monarch called it event echo. They didn't know what it meant. But Kong did. In the hollow Earth, he stood beneath a sky of inverted stars, staring into a crevice that shouldn't have existed. One carved from within, not the surface. Something was digging its way up, not with claws, but with energy. Radiation. Light. And in the skies above the Pacific, Godzilla roared for the first time in months. A sound so loud it broke seismographs in Tokyo. Something had awakened him. Something only titans could feel. A call, or a warning. Then came the storm over Cairo. Without warning, the sky darkened. A spiral of clouds. Lightning like nothing Earth's atmosphere could produce. Then came the quake, registering 9.6 on the Richter scale, but without a fault line. Entire sections of the desert folded inward. And from the center, a column of light. White. Blinding. Screaming. The footage leaked from a helicopter pilot who didn't survive the crash. Only one frame was clear. A being. 15 stories tall. No skin. Only plasma. No eyes. Only heat. Hovering above the chaos. And below it, dust. Cities, history, time, all turned to ash. Monarch scrambled. The footage was dismissed as fake. CGI. But insiders knew the truth. They'd seen similar readings, in the hollow Earth. Near Kong's new domain. But Kong was missing. Gone. No vitals. No signal. Only his axe, left embedded in stone, still glowing, still vibrating. Not with power, but with fear. Then, from deep space, an alert. A telescope in Chile caught it. A flicker. A distortion. A wave of light, curving. Bending reality. And within it, something moving. Something impossibly fast. Headed for Earth. The Monarch scientists called it the Solar Seraph. Not a god. Not a meteor. A living cosmic event. And somehow, it had been here before. In ancient carvings, long ignored in Brazilian caves, were depictions of a sun with tendrils. Flames, yes, but shaped like arms. Beneath it, creatures kneeling. Titans. Submitting. Worshipping, or begging. The prophecy had a name, Kaiju Somnus. The Titan sleep. Every few millennia, the Titans would rest, not out of choice, but necessity. To hide. To survive the coming of something older. Something that eats suns, and lays waste to planets. And now, it was returning. Godzilla wasn't roaring for dominance. He was calling for help. Monarch called an emergency summit in a black site hidden beneath the Mariana Trench. A place even Godzilla refused to enter. The tension was electric. Scientists, military leaders, linguists, and rogue theorists all watched the same loop, the Solar Seraph moving through space, unbound by physics, faster than light, yet slow enough to be observed, and feared. Every projection placed it on a collision course with Earth. But it wasn't coming to crash. It was coming to claim. To consume. Back in the Hollow Earth, a rescue mission was deployed. Led by Dr. Eileen Andrews, accompanied by Jia, the deaf girl who shared a bond with Kong stronger than science could explain. They descended into a realm now altered, wilder, more chaotic. Gravity flickered. Time bent. Creatures once thought extinct now roamed freely. But one thing was clear, something had torn through here. Not walked. Torn. Like a star ripping through silk. Kong wasn't just gone, he had been taken. By the time they found the remnants of his throne, the walls bore burns in the shape of claw marks, except there were no claws. Just imprints. Pressure scorched into rock as if gravity itself had scraped the walls. And in the air, a smell like ozone. Burnt sunlight. Jia could feel it. She couldn't hear it, but her bones did. A frequency so deep, so unnatural, it vibrated through her spinal cord. Then she signed one word. Awake. They didn't understand at first. But she wasn't referring to Kong. She meant something else. Something older. Monarch had long hidden certain truths, among them, a secret chamber buried deep within their archives. Contained within it, forbidden scrolls from Okinawa, stolen data from the Nazis' Titan division, and an ancient monolith found off the coast of Crete. All mentioned the same phrase across languages, cultures, and timelines. The devourer returns with fire that sleeps. What kind of fire sleeps? A supernova. In astronomical terms, it's the death of a star, but it begins with silence. Compression. Implosion. And then, destruction so vast it redefined space. The Solar Seraph was that, but not dead. Alive. A being made of the collapse itself. It doesn't destroy with claws. It burns timelines. It unravels ecosystems. It doesn't eat, it uncreates. The mission in Hollow Earth was aborted. Dr. Andrews barely escaped with Jia. But before their aircraft reached the breach point, something rose from the deep flora. Kong. Changed. Scarred with streaks of light across his chest, eyes glowing a faint gold, and in his hand, not just the axe, but something new embedded in its core, a molten crystal. Jia reached out. He knelt. And she placed her hand against his. She didn't need to speak. He had seen it. He had fought it. And he had failed. In a vision shared between them, Jia saw what Kong saw. A throne floating in nothingness. Surrounding it, dead titans. Mothra, Rodden, even creatures unknown to Monarch, all ash, floating in space, orbiting the Solar Seraph. And in the distance, Earth. Not as it was, but as it would be, hollowed out, burned, lifeless. Unless they stopped it. Godzilla was already preparing. In the Atlantic, naval radars picked up something beneath the waves, miles wide, deeper than any sub could travel. The core began fluctuating in temperature. Not just warming, pulsing. As if in anticipation. Godzilla had returned to the source of his power. To evolve. For the first time, Monarch scientists realized that the Titans weren't just protectors. They were weapons. Designed, not by nature, but perhaps by the universe itself, as balance. Equal and opposite to the things that shouldn't be. The Solar Seraph was one of those. Kong climbed back to the surface. He didn't need a lift. He tore through the crust with his bare hands. And as he emerged in Antarctica, a blizzard parted before him, not from heat, but respect. This was no longer just Kong. He was becoming something else. Not fire. Not light. But resilience. And Godzilla? He burst from the depths off the coast of Greenland, larger, glowing blue like never before. Plates on his back sharpened into blades. His eyes no longer blinked. He didn't roar. He screamed. A sound that knocked birds from the sky in South America. A sound that echoed through every Titan across the globe, activating instincts millions of years dormant. They were awakening. All of them. Not for war. For survival. And high above them all, the Solar Seraph turned. It saw Earth. And it smiled. Above the stratosphere, telescopes watched helplessly as the Solar Seraph entered Earth's gravitational field. It didn't fall. It descended, with grace, with purpose, like a god reclaiming its domain. The sky split open. Not clouds, but the very blue peeled like paper. And from that cosmic wound, the Seraph emerged, wreathed in plasma, a body sculpted from stardust and fury. Wings of fire expanded like solar flares, licking the edge of Earth's atmosphere, sending tsunamis rippling across continents before its feet ever touched soil. This wasn't just a titan. This was extinction given form. Monarch issued a final directive, Code Omega. All known titans were called. Some responded. Some didn't. But two stood ready, Godzilla, the king of monsters, reborn in deep-sea pressure, glowing brighter than ever. And Kong, bearer of the hollow Earth's last hope, the molten axe now pulsing with a heartbeat of its own. The battlefield, the remnants of Cairo. Now a crater, bathed in heat, where time itself bent around the Seraph's landing. Humans evacuated. Satellites blinked out. And the titans marched. First came Behemoth, charging through Europe, tusks ablaze. Then Scylla, the nightmare spider, skittering across oceans with storm clouds in her wake. And Rodan, reborn, fiery wings beating like drums of war. They all came. Because they remembered. Long ago, before language, before memory, this thing had come. And only sacrifice had delayed it. Now, it was hungry again. As Kong approached the crater, he didn't wait. He roared, not in challenge, but in defiance. He leapt, axe raised, light flaring across the clouds, striking the Seraph across the face. And for the first time, it bled. Not red. Not gold. But the color of collapsed stars. Reality bent. The Seraph retaliated with a shockwave that erased matter, vaporizing mountains like sandcastles. Kong flew back miles, crashing through 3 city blocks, buried in steel and dust. But he rose. Because Godzilla had arrived. His dorsal fin sliced through the ground like a shark through ice, and when he surfaced, he was no longer Godzilla. He was something more. His atomic breath now pulsed in rings. Blue. Then violet. Then white. Pure energy. He unleashed it. A beam not of flame, but gravity. The Seraph screamed, not in pain, but joy. At last, a worthy fight. The sky turned black. Stars vanished. The moon cracked. And then, the impossible happened. The Seraph split. 2 forms. One of heat, one of gravity. Both alive. Twins born from a dying star. They attacked in tandem. Godzilla held one back, jaws locked on its throat, claws ripping into plasma. Kong faced the other, his axe absorbing blows that melted concrete around him, eyes burning with purpose, muscles tearing with each movement. The world watched. No more evacuations. Just silence. Prayers. And awe. Jia stood atop a Monarch carrier, hand pressed to her chest, feeling each impact as if they were her own heartbeat. She signed something. Dr. Andrews turned, tears in her eyes. She translated, "He's not fighting for us. He's fighting because he remembers what it took to protect us." The battle raged for hours. Continents shifted. Oceans boiled. And then, the moment came. The Seraph's twin forms tried to merge. A mistake. Because in that instant, Kong and Godzilla struck in unison. Kong with his molten axe, supercharged with hollow Earth radiation. Godzilla with his new breath, condensed into a singularity, a black hole the size of a marble. They collided with the Seraph's core. Silence. A stillness so pure, it felt like death. Then, light. Pure, blinding, all-consuming light. Seen from space. Felt in the soul. The Seraph was gone. Not dead. Erased. Reality healed. Time resumed. And Earth exhaled. In the aftermath, Kong lay broken, ribs shattered, arm barely moving. But he lived. And beside him, Godzilla, scarred, burnt, but breathing. The Titans roared. Together. Not in victory. But in survival. The sky cleared. The stars returned. And far above, a new satellite caught one final image. Kong and Godzilla, side by side, looking not at each other, but at the horizon. Because they knew. This wasn't the end. The universe is vast. And monsters? They are never alone.